Hello, everybody. It's been a while, I know. Trust me, I know. I haven't really been doing a lot of crocheting behind the scenes because I don't want to, so I don't. Um, I have been doing a lot of prep for my craft fair that I'm hosting, which is tomorrow morning, actually. So it's gonna be April 11th. That's your time frame for how long it takes me to get this out. But I will say this video is gonna have to have some delay to it because this is for my sister's graduation next month. Gonna be graduating high school. I can't believe that. It's crazy. Where has time gone? 18 years in the blink of an eye. So for her 8th grade graduation, I went to Build-A-Bear and I bought her a bunny with the cap and the gown outfit and the banner that said like class of whatever year that would have been. But this year, I was like, I'm not gonna do the same thing twice because, it's like regifting. Even though I'm not giving her the same thing. That's kind of what it feels like in my mind. So I thought, I can crochet. So I'm gonna make her a bear with a cap and a gown and a banner because, I mean, is that the same? Yes, but it's handmade, and hopefully she's gonna appreciate it. I really think she liked, or I think she really liked the monkey that I made her with the heart underwear that she asked for. I thought it was really cute. My mom told me that after I brought it out to her and came back to my room that she's told my mom, like, this is so cute. I guess I was right about part of her thinking that even though I said it, or she said she wanted it, that I wasn't going to make it for her. But I did, and so she liked it. So today I have some of this left over, so hopefully I won't need both of these. I have that much left over. Now I don't like this chunky yarn all that much, but I bought some, so I have to use it. So I went and bought some more. So this is Baby Bee Snugs and Kisses. I guess the shade would be Teddy. I know it's backwards for you. Maybe it's not by the time I edit this and turn all the footage around and stuff. This 227 grams of yarn was $9. And I bought two. And I have about a half. So I think 2.5 should be enough for a bear. It's not going to be like Gigantosaurus. And then of course, we're going to be using the Jess Huff pattern. That's just the only bear pattern that I like. And then I have this white yarn for like the foot padding and the snout and the arm padding. But I have a different white that I think I'm going to have more of. And it's also more close to the thickness of, oh, maybe not, the thickness of this strand. These are like two very different thicknesses. And it's just going to make the whole thing look weird. So I do have some other white. I have to dig it out. I mean, it's right here in my filing cabinet, but I have to dig it out. I have in these two filing cabinets, which I've shown you guys before, I'm sure. My yarn is separated by color, right? So like red. The second drawer is orange and yellow. The third drawer is blue. My green is on the other side for some reason. But black, white, and brown are all just kind of thrown in together. But silver and gray gets its own drawer. I don't know why. Anyway, let's get started. I won't say I'm going to do too much of footage of the bear itself, just because I've made it so many times. More so than it is going to be probably the process of the cap and the gown and the banner. If the banner gives me a lot of trouble because I'm not too well versed in, like, handling, I don't even know if that's what it's called, where, like, you do slip stitch on top of the work to make, like, letters and numbers and stuff. I'll try my best. I will try my best. So, let's get started. I think I, might have underestimated how big this yarn was going to make the body, because this is not even halfway. This is already the size of a small cereal bowl. So, yeah. Anyway. Like, let me show you the ears. This is the nose. Look how big this thing is. And then the ears. One ear takes up my whole palm. This is the tail. This thing is gonna be massive, which is what I was going for in theory, but I was like on the small side of massive, not the massive side of massive. Anyway, I'm gonna keep going with the body, and then I'm probably gonna make the. I wanted to do all the pieces that did not require white first, just so I could see how much brown I would have left. So after the body, I'm going to make the arms and legs, and then I'll make the head last, I think. And the biggest millimeter eyes I have is 15, so I honestly hope those are going to be big enough. I think they will be. Or at least I hope they will be. So, I know I've talked about this before regarding this pattern, this Jess Huff pattern, how when she first released the bear pattern, it was for, or like every piece was a separate piece, so the head was separate from the muzzle or the snout, and then she changed it so that it's more, well, accessible. No, that's not the word. It's like low, you know how like some patterns have a lot of pieces that have to be sewn together? Some people are just so lazy that they don't want to sew and crochet. I'm sorry, but that's a part of the process sometimes. Obviously, this excludes people that are disabled. I know a lot of people that crochet are older, and so they might have arthritis or bad carpal tunnel. I get that. This is not about you or for you. This is for those of you who are too lazy to pick up one of these. Hold on, I can't. Pick up one of these and put pieces together. Okay? Now, I will say, I do like the snout and the head being one piece, because honestly, when I made the original bear pattern, the snout was kind of finicky to attach. So I do appreciate the snout and the head now being one piece. But I don't like the way the snout looks, the way it's written. So I'm gonna add another round to just kind of make it a little longer. You'll see. English would be fantastic. I will show you when the piece is done what I'm talking about, which requires me to finish the entire head. Also, I hope the safety eyes I have are big enough for this, because if they're not, they're gonna have to be anyway. So, wish me luck on that. Now, obviously, you're gonna want your color change to be at the bottom, not the side. So, I'm going to be changing where my round starts, which this doesn't affect the pattern at all, because I'm only doing one stitch all the way around, right? If this was a part of the pattern that had a lot of shaping to it, that would be a disaster, because it would throw off the count. But anyway, for the limbs, I didn't do the back loops, only color change like I normally do. but you really can't tell all that much. I mean, you can see all these little V shapes. Those would normally be hidden if I did the color change the way I normally do, but I didn't. But I am going to do it for the face, because the face is obviously right in the front. So, first I have to change the color. I wanted to think that maybe this yarn was growing on me, because I've made a couple projects with it now. I will say, out of this brown, I made an Oogie Boogie for the craft fair that I did. I was kind of hoping nobody would have bought him, because I wanted him. And I did not want to have to make another one. But, of course, that was the first thing I sold, which I'm grateful for. Because, you know, any sell is a win. Plus, I made him to be loved by somebody else. I can always make another one. But that's kind of the reason why I didn't want him to be bought. Was because I didn't want to have to work with this yarn again. But because I had some left over, and my sister's graduating, and like I said at the beginning, I didn't want to just go buy her something, you know, store-bought. I did that for 8th grade, and she liked it. But I want this to be something more sentimental. Now, I am considering wrapping this in cellophane and telling her not to unwrap it. Only because she has a cat. And cats are kind of stinky. I don't want my bear to be stinky. I'm making it for her, though. So I guess she can do with it what she pleases. But I'm putting a lot of work into this. And there's just something to be said when you do something nice for somebody and they act like they don't appreciate it. Makes you not feel all that appreciated. But such is life. Anyway. Oh, also another reason why I don't really like this yarn is because it breaks and shreds. It doesn't shred as bad as Chanel yarn does. I think this is more like blanket yarn. Chanel's the one that's really, really soft, like the velvet yarn. I will say this doesn't shed that bad, but it snaps so easy. Because this is not like, it's not a bunch of different strands spun together like acrylic is. It's, on the tag it says this yarn is made out of polyester. I don't even know how that works, honestly, but I'll have to show you. Also, I feel like I crochet so slow with this because, I mean, I can't see, I mean, I know what I'm doing enough that I can see my stitches, right? Like, I know where they are. But I really can't see them. You know, like, I mean, like, there's one loop and there's the other. If I was a beginner, I would not recommend, well, I'm not a beginner. If you're a beginner, I don't recommend this yarn. I know a lot of beginners say they recommend, you know, like, or tutorials for beginners say they recommend a chunky yarn. This, I don't think, is what people mean when they say chunky yarn. I think they mean like weight 5 yarn, where it's like, I don't have it. Oh yeah, I do. I have some. Let me go grab it. So kind of like this green yarn here, because this is still thicker. I mean, this is only, what, 3 or 4 strands? 3. This is still bigger than the average crochet stitch, or crochet, what am I trying to say? This is still thicker than the average acrylic yarn that you're gonna get from, like, Walmart or what have you. And I was knitting something with this, and I wasn't paying attention to the pattern, so it came out way too big. But, let me show you. Hold on. I should probably cut this part out, but I don't like editing videos, which is why it takes me so long to get them out. And of course the reason why this yarn is like easier to work with in this way is because it's not like, it's because it's 3 different strands. But I don't know what happened there, but okay. So you see how with this you can clearly see the 2 loops, one in the front and one in the back. You really can't see them, you know, distinctly. And it does have to do with because it's 2 different types of yarn. So you can see on the end of this one, if I pull this off, it's just a bunch of fluff that's somehow woven between these 2 strands that's holding it together. So this yarn is one that's typically really hard to sew with, like to attach things together with, for this reason, because it shreds really badly. But it won't kill me to work with it for this project. This is probably going to be the last thing I make out of this type of yarn. I bought a lot of it, this type of yarn, because I was going to make a bunch of different things out of it for the craft fair, and then I just didn't get around to it. So I didn't. One of the things I made was, and I'll put a picture of it right here, a baby mandrake. And at first I was thinking, like, this is gonna look stupid, but then I made it and I was like, okay, you know what, this is actually kind of really cute, and I think I should make one for myself to keep. But anyway, semi rant over. I'm gonna get back to the face. Also, I will say, I know I said it once, but I will say it again, I think I underestimated how big this bear is gonna be. These are the arms. These are probably twice the size of what they would be if I made them out of regular acrylic. Anyway, I will be back at some point. I have to confess something to you guys. I went to the mall today, and that is where Build-A-Bear is. And I did get the graduation sash that says Class of 2026, just in case the one that I'm going to try to make ends up looking like doo-doo. So, here are my safety eyes. It's time to apply them. Honestly, hold on. This might be my thumbnail. It probably won't be, but just in case. Okay. I'm thinking, obviously I'm going to have to do 15 millimeter because that's the biggest size that I have. But the question is, do I do brown or do I do black? Wow. Let me put them in and then we'll compare them. I don't know why. I just like the black eyes. You can't really tell the difference, but I promise this one is brown. This one is black. I mean, this obviously does not look store-bought, but I think that sometimes I gravitate towards the black ones because I feel like it gives them a more store-bought look. But it's not supposed to look store-bought. I'm not sure. Well, because I only have 2 pairs of brown eyes left. Not like I can't just go buy more, but I'm going to be happy if I do black eyes, so I'm just going to do black eyes. Oops, I don't know which spot I had it in, so we're going to guess. Wait. Like, right here. Yeah? Yeah. They are kind of small for the head. I do wish I had bigger eyes, but I'm going to add details around them, so it should work out. It'll be fine. I just remembered that I have these from good old Hobby Lobby, and I bought a bunch of pairs of them because I didn't know what I was going to do with them, but they're 20 millimeters. Should we try these? I haven't put the backs on yet. Hold on. Now, I know they look kind of stupid, but it's because there's no face shaping going on yet. But these have an offset pupil. That's the black part, right? So I have to make sure they're situated right. Otherwise, it's going to look like it has googly eyes. We don't want no googly eye teddy bear, but I do think these are going to work better, so we're going to go with these. So, I'm going to put the backs on before I change my mind. Oh, I hate these backs because they're so wide. Let me see if I can fit the other. I don't like those. No. Ew. No. Yeah, so apparently these little tiny backs are not going to go on there. Ew, I don't want to use these. If I use these... Okay, hold on. Unless I can get these on here backwards, it's going to make face shaping very hard. Oh my goodness. Do I just have no muscles at all? Okay, hold on then. If that's the case, I'm going to put in the thread I'm going to use to face shape first. Somehow. And this has to go actually, this is going to work out because it has to go behind the eyes, but because these eyes are those kinds of eyes that have like two pieces to them, and they have plastic on them so they don't get fingerprints on them. I have to make sure it goes behind both pieces. So honestly, this will work. Because then I can actually make sure it goes where it's supposed to. And doesn't pull the back of the eye down with it. And then, maybe this side. Then obviously, I'm not going to do the face shaping until I get the head stuffed. But the thread will stay in there, I'll just work around it. And then for the eye details, I will have to figure out somehow. Okay, unfortunately this bear is not going to fit in frame because it is in fact massive. But I think what I'm going to do is I still have to sew the tail on. It's right here. I think I'm going to put the ears on last because I want to attach the hat first. It's going to have a cap and a gown. I want to have enough room for the hat to fit properly, and then so I'll sew the ears on after. So, I'm not going to take the plastic off the eyes until the end. I love how this came out, but it looks so funny without ears. This thing is massive. I actually kind of want to keep it for myself. So I'm going to sew the tail on. Usually I do the tail last because I like to put it where it can support the bear to sit up on its own. So that's just why I usually leave it till to the end. So that's my next step. And then I will be back at some point during the progress of the cap and gown. Because I want to show like the plastic canvas to make the cap hold its shape properly. Yeah, you'll see. I'll show you. I'm not moving my keyboard for this one, so hopefully it's not too distracting. But this is the square I'm going to be using for the cap. This is a 4x4 square of plastic canvas, and I'm going to make 2 equal parts to go on the top and the bottom, and basically make a yarn plastic canvas yarn sandwich. And then I'm gonna make a circle, or like a chain, I guess, and then crochet it into a circle and do a few rounds to make the hat part. And then I'm gonna sew it onto the head, and then I'm gonna put the ears on, and then I'll make the gown at the end. Oh, and I'm gonna be using this black, like, velvet yarn, just because I have some left over from when I made something Snoopy themed for somebody recently. So, and I should have plenty because I went out and bought some more, just in case. I think, oh, I don't know. This is a smaller strand than the yarn that I used for the bear. So a 5, oh, this is a 4 hook. This might be too big. I might end up doing like a 3.5, maybe even a 3 hook for this, but we'll see. I don't know what the deal is with this yarn, but I have undone this and redone it twice, and I've measured it both times, and it still is too short. So I don't know what's going on. I also got a bunch of bird dander on it now because they were sitting up by my desk. So I'm not taking this out again because this yarn is one of those yarns that's really bad for shredding. And you can see that it's wider on the bottom than it is on the top. I don't know what the deal is with that either. Probably has something to do with tension. I did end up using my 4 hook though. So I think what I'm going to do is be really lazy about it because I'm not risking this yarn shredding on me. I'm just going to go back and forth across the end until I have enough width this way to then fold it over and make a sandwich. Or I guess in this case a hot dog. But yeah, so that this is gonna go inside, and then I'm gonna, like, even if I stretched it, which if I stretch it I'm not gonna have enough room to sew it or crochet it together anyway. I'll be back when I figure it out. So I ended up with, I think, about 18 stitches on the side. So this should work out, which means that I have 18 stitches on this side too, which is fine. Now the only reason I'm even comfortable doing this instead of undoing it and doing it again is because the yarn is fluffy. You can't even see really that the stitches are in a different direction. But if this was regular yarn, like this kind of acrylic, I would definitely be taking this out and redoing it. Also, like I said, I just don't want to risk this yarn shredding because then it just looks gross. And it really would be a waste to have to, like, cut all of this yarn off and throw it away. So trust me, this is the better solution. I fear that this is going to be the only way I'm going to be able to show you this, so please do not look at all the crap on my desk, okay? All my junks. But this is the bear, and this is not sewn on yet. I just set it on there so I can see what it looked like. I sewed a button to the top so I can hang the tassel from it. I'm going to pin this to the head, and I'm going to sew it, and then I'm going to stuff this part, the inside here, so it'll keep its shape and not be like, heh, when I, you know, yes, the sound effect was necessary. Heh. So it's, gonna keep its shape, and then this has the plastic canvas in there, of course, so this is always gonna be, you know, a square. And it's a little dusty because my birds sit above my desk all day and preen, and their dander gets all over my everything. I do wish the button was matte though, but it's not, so it's just gonna have to work. After this, I have to make the tassel. I think I'm just gonna do I don't want to do gold because black and gold were my high school colors, so I don't want her to think that I'm like trying to replicate my high school colors. Maybe I'll do green. Her school colors are like blue and green, like the Scotsman. That's her mascot. So maybe I will do a mixture of blue and green yarn. The thing is that my sister doesn't like the high school she goes to. The staff has just been like very unprofessional to her the whole time she's went there. So I'm not sure. Maybe I'll do red. Maybe I'll do like a completely unrelated color and I'll do red. I think I've actually changed my mind on making a tassel. I think what I'm gonna do, because I can't decide which color to do, is I think I'm gonna leave it without one, and she can just put the tassel from her cap on there, like the actual 2026 tassel, and that can be her keepsake, because I doubt she's gonna want to keep the cap in the gown. You know, those are things you can only wear once. Although I do still have mine and my cords that I graduated with. So the only thing I have left to make is the gown. Except for I have to find the velvet yarn, because I have no idea where it is. So, hold on. So I'm going to be using this, and this is the exact same yarn I used for the hat. Baby B. Adorable. In black, obviously. I don't know if you want the information, but here it is. Nothing fancy. I will not be doing that though. So again, 4.0 hook, and I have to go get the bear because I want to obviously measure this to the body as I make it. We're almost done. We're on the home stretch. So I thought about like getting real fancy and putting a zipper on the gown so it could come off, but it is not that serious. So I think I'm just gonna make it, and I'll just sew it together like on the top part that's gonna be like here maybe. Just sew this and leave the bottom separate so it can still be kind of flowy. I doubt I'll be making another graduation bear. I might write the pattern for the gown down just in case I ever get commissioned for one. The hat itself was pretty straightforward. I don't even need a pattern for that. You know, so anyway, since I don't have any more blank paper, I don't even have any more like loose leaf paper. I need to go get some. I'm going to use a spare craft fair flyer that I have left over, and I think I'll use one of these pins I bought. I don't know if you heard that horn. My mom is home. Welcome home, Mom. I bought this at the craft fair from one of my vendors. I also bought this one. I love these. I love this one the most, though. I love Oogie Boogie. So, gown. The only thing I don't like, which, you know, is just how it is that the Hello Kitty one is really top heavy, because Miss Kitty, oh, sorry, Oogie Boogie, Miss Kitty has a fat head, and so writing with this is really weird because it's really top heavy. I have a fat head too, though, so it's okay. Anyway, our first step is going to be a chain. How many? That's a good question. Let's find out. Untangle this mess. Here's my... Okay. Should I leave a tail? Yeah. Sometimes leaving a tail is just beneficial. I mean, you have to leave one regardless because that's how you start your chain. But sometimes it's beneficial just so it doesn't unravel. You can work it in as you go, which I guess I will also show you that. It's going to be kind of hard to see on this yarn. Black yarn, especially velvet yarn, is the worst thing to show a tutorial with. But I'll make it work. Okay, I just guessed chain 25. It fits perfect. But I'm going to put 26 just in case. Because usually when you turn, you do an extra one. So we'll do one more. Okay. The next row is going to be probably the hardest to do out of the whole project because I can't see what I'm doing with the stitches. And I'm probably going to have to work with my flashlight on my phone. So I will be back after the first row is done. Although I will say that the only reason this is so hard for me is because I prefer to work in the back. Not, you know how like when you do a regular chain, there's two loops on the front. You can't see with this yarn at all. But I like to work in the back loops because I feel like it gives me a neater finish. instead of having just one loop on the top. Maybe. Hold on. I hope my sister appreciates this because I've taken on the impossible to make it for her with this yarn. Hello. I know there's a loop there. Oh. We didn't see that. It's right there. Oh. What? I think they've made this yarn idiot-proof. They being... Well, this yarn comes from Turkey. Oh, speaking of Hobby Lobby, can we talk about something real quick? You know how, like, a lot of people don't like to shop at Hobby Lobby because they're Christian owned and operated? That is what it is. But they've been selling a lot of, like, pre-made crochet stuff, like little plushes. Finally. Little plushes and stuff. And I was, like, so against that because I thought that they were using slave labor because crochet cannot be replicated by a machine. Therefore, the only way to get something crocheted is for somebody, somewhere, to hand make it. So I was doing a little research because I was like, I really don't want to not go to my favorite craft store because that's one of the only ones we have here, other than Michael's, and Michael's is like, if I'm desperate. Joann's used to be if I was desperate too, but then they died. Joann's just decided she was Joann no more. So, Michael's and Hobby Lobby are my only options now. Walmart, if I'm, you know, feeling lucky, Walmart might have what I need. But I was doing some research on the factories that they use, which of course all are overseas. But I read that Hobby Lobby enforces labor codes with the factories that they partner with, that everybody that works in the factories has to be voluntarily hired. So there's no forced labor. Therefore, no slave labor. So that's reassuring to me, at least. Plus, I'm sure Hobby Lobby can't control what they get in, like the stores specifically. If they're, like, the managers above them are just sending out whatever they think is going to sell. I get that. But it's a little discouraging still to see pre-made stuff in a store that's supposed to be helping you live your creative life. That's their little slogan that always plays when I'm in there. Anyway, that reassured me. Hobby Lobby does not participate in slave labor. That's great. Because something about even just thinking that they didn't sit right with me because they're, like I said, Christian owned and operated. Christians know that slavery is not okay. So, something just didn't sound right, so I did my own research. Google is free, and I learned that they don't use slave labor. So, all is well. Alright, I said I would show you how to hide the tail at the end. So let me actually do it. Hold on. So this is my last stitch, right? Maybe. Okay. So this is my tail, right? And focus to be amazing. Okay. Well, this is the first step to hiding it. Hiding it actually happens in the next row. But you're going to go through whichever loop you desire. Okay, pull through. At this step, you're going to put your tail around just the hook. Like that. Then, holding it against your work, you're going to go through all 3 loops and chain. That just moves the tail to the back, so when you turn your work, it's already there. You can just go under it. You will have to move it out of the way temporarily. So, because your first stitch, I know this is the worst yarn to show you on, but your first stitch is behind the tail. So you're going to have to move your tail out of the way and go into your first stitch. And then you can just work it in like you would regularly. Obviously pull on it to take up any excess of tail in the back. Make my stitch not so loose, though, would be amazing. Better, okay. Then you could just work it in like you would any other. But because this is the round I'm going to have to make my sleeve holes in, I'm probably not going to get to work it in like that. So my tail might have to wait a couple rounds. Yeah. Anyway, I will make some progress and then I will be back. I'm not going to show you every step of the way because then we'd be here forever. This is finally done. This took me way longer than it should have. Partially because I had to go to work while I was working on this. And I didn't really do much. Oh my gosh, this extra large loop for no reason is gonna bug me really badly. I didn't do much. Just move it to the inside because it's gonna get sewn together at least halfway. You know, as a graduation gown does. What was I gonna say? Oh, that I didn't do much extra outside of just making it, you know, like the shape that it is. Other than when I was done with the sleeves, that was the last part I had to do, was I went around the whole, not the bottom seam, but I started here and went all the way up here with single crochet to make a border, so I'd have a better time sewing it together. And then for the collar, because it kind of disappeared once I made the sleeves, I did half double crochet, because that is like a little, not like stretchier, but there's just more room in the stitch for it to still fit around the neck. And then that's it. And I know it doesn't look very long, that's because it's not. I only made it long enough to cover the bear's body when the bear is sitting down, because that's how it's going to be displayed, is sitting down. So, I'm kind of leery about making her stuff, though, because every time I go in her room, it's in the floor. I don't make nice things for them to go in the floor. But, other than this, the bear is completely done. I just need to put this on and sew it closed so it doesn't come off. I'm going to lint roll the black yarn because it's got bird dander all over it. And I'm going to have a trip and a half trying to get the bear's arms in the sleeves. Oh, also, this one looks kind of crusty because when I was trying to finish off the sleeve, the yarn broke, and I was like, I'm not undoing the sleeve to redo the yarn to have an actual tail, so I just pulled the fibers off. It's not going to focus. Well, okay, you can see the white thread there. I put some craft glue on it just to hold it together. But if she doesn't stick her fingers down in here, she's not going to know that it's there. Because this is not going to come off the bear. So, I will put this on the bear now, and I will show you the final product after. Okay, welcome back to 1.0. That was filmed in 0.5. Oh, don't tell me the arms are going to stick all out to the side, all weird. Hold on, let me sit him up. Oh no, he looks fine. Okay, you're not going to be able to see, maybe, but I'm only going to sew to about here. leave this part open. See how it is kind of too short, but when he's sitting up, you can't tell. But I'm going to sew this closed with just regular black acrylic yarn. Nothing fancy or special, but it is going to be more secure than this. This black yarn is so flimsy. Like, it can't take any stress on the thread, which is part of the reason why it took me so long to get the arms, and I was trying not to pop any of my stitches and just have the whole thing risk unraveling. But I got it. So, just regular black acrylic yarn. We're done. We're done. I'm like 99% done with this. I think for this, I'm going to use 2 of these metal darning needles. 1 on each side. That way I can kind of lace it up like a shoelace and just tie it off. And like I said, just regular black acrylic. This yarn is fluffy enough that you won't even be able to see this once I'm done. Or maybe I could just do one. I could do a ladder stitch, which would leave a really nice finish. But I want to have 2 threads so I can tie them together and make it more secure. That's why I'm going to do, like I said, like a shoelace. So, hold on. And I think I wanted to make a diploma of sorts. I think I might just roll up some felt and kind of make one like that and attach it to the hand somehow, or honestly I might just leave it as is. I don't know, we'll see. Also, I wanted to show this to you, but I also wanted to have the bear kind of sat up so I could see what I was doing. I feel like I'm doing surgery now. Your tail is very in the way, sir. I think I'm gonna start from the top. So, hold on. This loop has found its way back out again. I will have to take care of that at the end. Actually, no. I'm going to take care of it now, because if I don't do it while I still have access to the inside of the work, it's going to be 10 times harder. Okay, I'm just going to do really simple. Just tie some yarn around it. Wait, hold on. I want to pull the loop to the inside, or I at least want to keep it as close to the work as I can. You see this loop right here? This is not supposed to be like that. I don't know why it is. So I'm going to fix it. Also, I have my bedroom door locked, so she can't come in here because, like, it would just ruin the whole surprise, obviously, if she came in here and saw me working on it. I mean, I could just tell her it's for a commission. You know, somebody asked me to make this for their kid for graduation. But I'm not too good at lying because I'm a Christian. And lying is something the good Lord told us not to do. So I try to avoid it at all costs. You know? Now I am gonna have to tie this to... Hello? I'm gonna have to anchor this to something or it just won't stay down here. So that's good. Right there. Perfect. Then... like that. Honestly, no, because what if they come out? I'll leave a little bit of tails. The rest can go in the scrap bag. Now, I am ready for the final step to sew this closed. I think, Mr. Bear, turn this way so I don't have to zoom out again. So, I'm gonna just, firstly, like this across both sides. Oh, this is also my application to be a surgeon, by the way. Just skip college. I just want to sew things closed. So, well, maybe not. Maybe I'm already failing. Hold on. I got my lines tangled, so never mind, I'm just kidding. Obviously, I was joking to begin with, but... also, the reason I wanted to make a seam up the sides, like, I'm pretty sure I said it, but it would be so that I had a neater edge to sew on. I do take pride in my work, or at least I try to make work that is worth being proud of, you know. Because what's the point of doing this if you're not doing your best? Also, okay, well, not to bring it back to the Bible, but like I just said, I am a Christian. And the Bible does say everything you do in work, in word or deed, do it as unto the Lord. Which means you should be doing it your best, because like, we're supposed to live life to honor him, right? He gave me the ability to even learn this in the first place. So, I'm gonna do my best. Not for man, but for God. Also because I just don't think how sloppy it works. That's one of my biggest pet peeves is when I see beginner crocheters. No hate towards any beginners. But that's the reason why people don't want to buy your stuff. Is because you can tell a beginner made it. And that's like like I said, no shade. But I understand everybody has to start somewhere. But not everything needs to be sold. You know, that's okay too. It's okay if people don't want to buy your stuff. That's why one of the reasons when I was accepting vendors for my craft fair, I was like, I really hope no beginners try to apply to this, because I'm gonna be hard pressed to tell them no. Not because I don't want, vendors. Just because I didn't want them to be there and, nobody would be. I mean, I'm not saying like they wouldn't make any sales, but I'm saying like I just didn't want them to get discouraged if nobody bought their stuff. Like, I actually don't think everybody that's a beginner should be selling stuff anyway, because you should hone your skills first. But I'm saying, anyway, I'm done now. He's completed. I'm gonna hide these tails on the inside of the work, and then he will be done, and I will show him in the outro. So, okay, I am so glad this is done. Not because I didn't enjoy making it. I always enjoy crocheting, especially for my family. I love making them stuff. But because this thing is so big, and I wanted to make sure it was done, obviously, before the event. Okay, I'm gonna... Oh, your head got a little smashed. I still have to lint roll it, okay? But after I show you, I'm gonna put it in the bag, which is right here in front of me. How am I gonna... He's giant. There's, like, no way to fit him in one frame. So you see how this looks a little short? Like I said, because it is. But if he's sitting down, it fits. I tried to get the ears as even as possible. I did sew them on after, like I said I would. Also, there's plastic on the eyes to keep them from getting, like, fingerprinted and scratched. So, I'm not gonna take them off before I put them in the bag. I'll let her take them off after. Oh, hold on. This thing is like the size of a newborn. There. It does look a little plain. I think I might make a diploma to put with it. Excuse me. It's not gonna be anything spectacular, so I'm probably not gonna show it. I was literally just gonna roll up a piece of white felt, like I said, and tie like a ribbon around it, attached to the hand somehow. Which, that's simple enough. I'm probably not gonna put anything on the felt, unless I can get like a bottle of. Well, my cursor's kind of sloppy though. Unless I can get a bottle of like fabric paint. Oh, hold on, just a second. Sorry, I was expecting a text from my parents, not a whole phone call. So that's okay though. I forgot what I was saying. That's not okay though. I still have to lint roll the bear. I'm gonna leave the plastic on the eyes until she gets it so they don't get messed up. I'm gonna make the diploma, just some rolled up felt with a ribbon. Not that serious, so I'm not gonna record it. This is the bag I got. Now, Stop. Now, I'm not, well, I am a little frugal sometimes because I don't make a lot of money. A little prudent, and that's nothing bad about that, especially regarding finances in this day and age. But we were at Walmart, and I intended to get a bag there, and I forgot. So then we went to the thrift store, and I was walking around. That's where I remembered that I forgot to get a bag to put the bear in. I was like, "Oh look, Mom, there's some bags, but I don't even see one big enough that it would fit in because this thing is gigantinormous." That's not even a word, but I just made it up. So I got this one. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to say graduation, but it's got like party. It is kind of wrinkled, though. That is kind of annoying. That it obviously must have been folded up for quite some time. But that's okay, because after she uses it, it's probably gonna go right in the trash. So it's living its best. Sorry, I can't even speak. It's living its best second life with me in this present moment. And I'm gonna put the bear in there. To definitely use, and someone had the same idea that I do, because there are staple holes right here. Well, okay. Anyway, I will put the bear in here after I make the diploma, which probably won't be till tomorrow because I don't think I have that much white felt. Ooh, I do have, but that wouldn't work though. I'll just say I do have like the really thin craft foam board. That wouldn't work though, and I just don't feel like digging for it right now. So when the diploma happens is to be determined. Honestly, I might put the bear in the bag just so I can have somewhere to put it that it won't be seen. Because otherwise, I might as well just give it to her right now. But that's not the plan. She's still got a month of high school left. Anyway, thank you for watching. Oh, also, I want to say, if what I said about beginner crocheters seemed a little too harsh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it that way. I don't, I firmly believe that just because you start crocheting does not mean you should start selling. And if I have to say it bluntly, I will. So here it is. Plug your ears if you don't want to hear it. Nobody should be selling crochet or knitted or any craft item that looks like garbage and expect people to buy it. I'm sorry I keep pausing it, but my birds won't stop fighting, so now one of them is in hand prison. Say hello. Can you say hello? Hey, you say hello? No, he's occupied. He's preoccupied with chewing on my rings. So, you upset? He has no idea what's going on. Um, I am just a firm believer in you should sell your very best. Also, even if you do sell your very best, nobody's obligated to buy it. So, are you okay? I'm barely even holding you. So, if you wanted to get away, you certainly could. Hey, Squirmy Wormy, stop it. Birds are very fragile. I love birds. Excuse me? Sir, the camera's over here. This is the one that you always hear singing and making a bunch of noise. This is my male bird. Can you please say hello or something? Or bite my finger. Okay, here. Anyway, thank you for watching. Video is now over. Bird has been released from hand prison, and I will see you guys next time. I think my next video is either going to be I'm making something for one of my mom's students at work. So that's not going to be done in the video because I need to get it done like ASAP as possible. And so I think my next video is going to be, do you guys know what roving is? No, okay, I'll tell you. Roving is the fancy word for unspun fiber. And I've been looking for some because my mom bought me for Christmas like 2 or 3 years ago what is called a drop spindle. It's in one of those boxes back there behind my calendar. And I wanted one because they were selling roving at Hobby Lobby. And then they weren't. And I was like, great. Now I have this thing I can't use because I don't know where else to buy unspun fiber from. But as soon as I saw this yarn, this is the other thing I bought at the thrift store. I was like, that is the perfect texture Like, I know most people would probably crochet. I just remember that there's a microphone right in front of me. Maybe I don't crinkle the bag right in your ears. But this is the perfect texture for trying to spin my own yarn. There's a hair in it. That's disgusting. That's okay. I also have this yarn that I am just tired of looking at. This is kind of the same texture, but thinner as this. So I'm going to see if I can really thin this out. Like, you see the difference in strand size, right? I'm going to see if I can really, really thin this out on the drop spindle and spin these together. I mean, they're not really the same color palette, but they're going to be when I'm done with it. So let me get the spindle. I will show you. I also just don't remember how to use this, so I would have to watch some videos on it again. It comes with these. These are like slicker brushes, like for a dog, but what they are supposed to be, if you do a lot of like spinning your own fiber, they are called carding paddles. Carding, carding paddles, and they are for brushing out fiber. Now, if these were actually carding paddles and these were not just dog slicker brushes with fancy wooden handles, they would be probably 3 times the size of this, at least in terms of the board part, because they're meant for, like, you put the fiber on here and then you brush them like opposite, and it smooths out the fibers, and then it allows you to work it into a strand, and then that strand is spun onto this. I believe this goes this way. No, I think it goes the other way. I think it goes this way. You're spinning it, like, you put it under this shape hook through this cutout part here, and it wraps around the bottom, but it spins as you're using it, and that's what helps form the strand. That's why it's called a drop spindle. And so I'm looking forward to learning how to use this again. I watched a lot of YouTube videos on it when I first started, and then I couldn't find any roving, so I was like, well, this is just an artifact in my room now. I'd be interested to show this to somebody who is not in the crafting world and ask them if they know what this is or what they would think it's for. The same with my, oh, what are these called? The yarn. Amazon calls it a yarn umbrella. That's not what it's called. Oh my goodness. What is this called? It, like, expands and contracts to make, anyway, whatever. I'd be interested in showing it to somebody who does not craft and knows nothing about crafting, and just, like, to see what their, opinion of it, what they think it is. That's really annoying me that I can't think of what that thing is called. Anyway, whatever. It's my mind. It's fine. Anyway, I look forward to learning how to use this now for the 3rd time. Thank you for watching. Can't believe my sister's already out of high school. That's crazy. By the time you see this, she will probably already have graduated, because I don't want. I guess I could do what I did for my dad's Christmas fish video and schedule it. I think I might do that, because I don't want the camera footage to sit in my phone forever, because then I will never post it. And I will see you again. If this goes disastrously wrong, there will not be a video on it. So if you can't find the video, that's why. It's because I gave up and possibly ruined all of my yarn. I will not be using these to brush it out, though, because I almost just whacked myself in the face. Maybe I put this down. I don't have, like, this. These are for, like, if you're brushing out, like, scrap yarn, or like wool, like, right off the sheep, and you have to really smooth it out and clean it before you can put it into thread, or thread, or a strand, I guess I should say. So these will not be a part of our adventure. And I think I am now out of things to say. Oh, congratulations, class of 2026. Both 8th grade and high school. You guys did it. 8th grade, you're almost there. In high school, you're done. Don't go to college. College is a scam unless you're going to go for something that matters. If you're not going to college for a degree that matters, don't go to college. You're just going to waste time and money and you will be miserable and you will be in debt for the rest of your life. Don't go to college. Okay? Okay. So, thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Have a great day. Jesus loves you and he is coming back soon, so make sure you're ready to go. Bye.